The views and opinions expressed on My Story Living with Lupus podcast are each individual's experience. By listening to this podcast or reading our blog, you agree not to use this podcast or blog as medical advice to treat any medical condition in either yourself or others. As always, consult your own physician for any medical issues that you may be having. Introducing District 36 Luxe Eyelashes. Their lashes give you the most natural look and feel. District 36 Eyelashes offers an array of individual lashes, mink, and human hair lashes. Their lash tech, Yana, is certified, so you can go from barely there to the glam in you. Follow District 36 Eyelashes on IG or visit their store at district36.storeenvy.com or contact Yana, the Lash Tech, at 404-490-3649. That's District 36 Luxe Eyelashes. Welcome back to another episode of My Story Living with Lupus. I'm your host, Susan Hendricks, and I'm so glad that you can join me on this Friday. Today's topic is Lupus Brain Fog. What is it and how do you cope? So you know the drill. Grab your cup of coffee, your cup of tea, or if you're listening late at night, grab your favorite glass of wine and join me for this episode of My Story Living with Lupus. Abundant Harvest Aquaponics, planting seeds to grow food and creating opportunities for people and families. You can contact this nonprofit organization at www.abundantharvestaquaponics.org. Hey, I want to ask you a question. Have you been forgetful lately? Are you having trouble concentrating, remembering things, or feeling detached or fuzzy? If so, you may be experiencing a cognitive dysfunction called brain fog. Now see, when I say cognitive, it refers to the thinking skills that allow you to understand, process, and respond to information. This can be incredibly frustrating to you and to those around you, causing your self-confidence to fade and even strain the relationships you have with family and friends. Having brain fog can also negatively affect your ability to work at your highest level and successfully manage your daily life. A brain fog can have many different origins, such as mental illness or other diseases such as lupus. Now, SLE, which is systemic lupus erythematosus, can affect many organs in the body, including the brain, thus causing this cognitive dysfunction or brain fog. Many who have been living with lupus for a while are very familiar with the term lupus fog, while others who are newly diagnosed do not yet understand that their sudden forgetfulness or trouble making sense of once common things. Now, that's what is lupus brain fog. Now, let's identify the signs of brain fog. Lupus brain fog can manifest differently for each individual. Some of the most common problems that are experienced because of this cognitive dysfunction are the inability to pay attention, the inability to remember or recall information, difficulty with problem solving, organizing information, and critical thinking, trouble with quickly coordinating hand-eye movements. Now, Monday mornings can find some of us feeling foggy, but 20% to 50% of people with lupus have a unique feeling of mental fogginess, including depression, memory problems, headaches, fatigue, confusion, and other neurologic symptoms. This set of symptoms, often called brain fog or lupus fog, is important to identify if you or a loved one has lupus. Knowing what to expect and having coping mechanisms in place can help with these issues. When we return, how can these problems affect daily life? Hi, this is Susan. For my story, Living with Lupus, have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? When I was trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions. How do I record an episode? How do I get my show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the other places people like to listen? How do I make money from my podcast? The answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors too, so you can get paid to podcast. So, if you've always wanted to start a podcast, make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start. That's ANCHOR.fm/start to join me and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast. If you would like to appear on an episode of My Story Living with Lupus, you can contact us at mystorylivingwithlupus@gmail.com. Also visit us on our Instagram page and also our website, My Story Living with Lupus. I want to tell you about how lupus brain fog has affected me. Yes, I have brain fog every so often. This one particular time, I was at my sister Wanda's home, and I was leaving to go pick up my nephew Sean, her son. So I'm driving down Grand River, and all of a sudden, my brain just clicked off. Things were fuzzy and did not look familiar. So I had to pull over. And I had my sister Wanda's number on speed dial. And I called her and I said, I don't know where I'm at. And she said, tell me the street you're on. And I'm looking for the street sign. And then she said, tell me what you see. And she said, okay, keep going straight. Okay, I kept going straight until it finally came to me. Everything kind of cleared up, and I recognized where I was at. And I told her, I'm good. I'm fine. I know where I'm at. And she said, no, I'm going to stay on the phone with you until you pick Sean up. And then she said, you want to turn around and come back? I said, no, I know where I'm at. I'm good now. And so she stayed on the phone with me until I picked my nephew up. And I told her, okay, I got Sean. He's in the car with me. I'm good. And she said, okay, when you drop him off and you go home, you call me and let me know that you made it in okay. And I told her, okay, I'm good. I know where I'm at. I know where I'm going. I just had one of those brain fog moments. On the second incident, I was with my sister Dolores. We were out shopping. We were leaving the store and was supposed to be going to another store in Troy. And I was driving. And she stopped, she asked me, she said, where you going? I said, I'm going to the other store. She said, no, you're on your way back home. And she said, you're going through one of those brain fog moments. And I said, yeah. And she said, turn around and go the other way. And so she had to give me directions. So brain fog has hit me. So if anyone is going through this, do not feel ashamed. It's not your fault. Don't be embarrassed. It's not your fault. It's just one of those things that happens. It happens to me. It happens to other people I know that suffers from lupus. And when I'm talking to someone on the phone with lupus, and we're both going through the brain fog moments where we'll both stop and say, girl, I done forgot what I was going to tell you. And the other person will say, I done forgot what I was supposed to tell you. Oh, well, let's go on and talk about something else until it comes back to us. And we'll both say, stop, let me get it out before I forget. So it happens. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Is it frustrating? Yeah. But you have to go on. Don't let it stop you. You have to go on. Now, as I stated, people experience a fog differently. These fogs may come and go along with a lupus flare, or the fog may be a consistent battle regardless of a flare. Here are 3 main ways in which a brain fog can affect daily life memory. Many with lupus fog have difficulty recalling conversations, tasks, or appointments. They find that they continually misplace items of importance like paperwork, bills, keys, phones, etc. Problems and consequences may arise as you forget meetings, doctor visits, or social events. They may forget things people have said to them, or they themselves have told someone, necessitating the need for repetitive questions or comments. Friends, family, co-workers, and caregivers may become increasingly frustrated, casting personal blame and judgment, not understanding that this is a medical condition, a cognitive disorder. Concentration. Many with a brain fog complain about having difficulty following directions, concentrating when they read, and trouble learning new tasks or absorbing information. They also report not having the ability to successfully multitask, having problems focusing on more than one thing at a time. The lack of ability to concentrate or pay attention can be a difficult symptom to deal with for anyone, but can be devastating to a student or to someone in a professional setting. Thinking skills and the ability to process information, reaction times may be slower, causing lags in conversation as the sufferer works to register and understand the information that is being shared. This also manifests in the inability to problem solve, plan, organize, and think critically. These skills that many take for granted can be very challenging for someone in a lupus fog. Simple tasks like planning for and preparing a meal can overwhelm someone with this type of condition. The sufferer may appear less intelligent, capable, or credible, thereby negatively affecting family, schoolwork, and community relationships. Now, we can't forget about what causes the confusion. Patients with lupus can be confused because of cognitive defects, short or long-term memory problems, psychosis, severe depression or anxiety, dementia, an infection or fever, or sometimes even because of the medication. If brain fog occurs, it usually happens within the first year or 2 years after diagnosis. After this break, we'll talk about how to cope with lupus brain fog. So stay with me right here on my story, Living with Lupus. Entrepreneur and creator of Right Side of 50 and I Am My Sister's Keeper. Sheila Smith, motivational and empowerment speaker, is available for your next empowerment event and conference. You can book her for your next event at rightsideof50@gmail.com. That's RIGHTTSIDEOF50@gmail.com or call at 678-293-6821. Each one encourage one. Oh, I know so well how frustrating it can be when you're going through lupus fog. But there are some things that you can do. The first thing to do if you're experiencing any of the symptoms is to discuss them with your medical provider. It is important to give them the opportunity to discover the root cause of the cognitive dysfunction, ruling out any potential adverse reactions to medication or other more serious conditions. For many, the lupus fog is just another troubling manifestation of this unpredictable disease. Now I'm going to give you 5 coping strategies. Now, medications are just one part of the puzzle when it comes to treating lupus and brain fog. It's important to look at your overall health by working to foster a good emotional environment. Partner up with your doctor. Take care of your body, because people with lupus should eat a healthy diet and exercise regularly. Avoid alcohol, tobacco, and illegal substances. Challenge your mind. Give yourself cognitive challenges. Do whatever you can to keep your physical and mental health at its peak. And consider therapy. Cognitive behavioral therapy can be helpful in teaching people to cope with their illness and symptoms. You got those 5? Let's go over them again. Foster a good emotional environment. Keep that negativity out and allow positive things and positive individuals in. Partner up with your doctor. The number one goal is to get the disease under control. Having a good rapport with all your physicians and a supportive environment at home. Taking your medications and following your doctor's instructions will help with that. Take care of your body. People with lupus should eat a healthy diet and exercise. And challenge your mind. Give yourself cognitive challenges. Do whatever you can to keep your physical and mental health at its peak. And also consider therapy. Cognitive behavioral therapy can be helpful in teaching people to cope with their illness and its symptoms. And you got to regain control. One strategy to consider is list making, which is helpful in easing anxiety for many patients. CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, won't cure memory problems, but might make them easier to deal with. In general, make sure your doctor knows about any medical or emotional issues you're having, so the two of you can work out a treatment plan that clears the fog. Now, the good news to all of this is, and yes, there is good news, and you're probably asking, how can there be good news? Well, lupus fog or brain fog does not typically get progressively worse like other cognitive disorders such as dementia or Alzheimer's disease. Instead, these cognitive issues will probably come and go or intensify and lessen, as lupus flares are also known to do. There are also some medical professionals who specialize in and can help teach ways to work around the cognitive symptoms. Now, there are occupational therapists, cognitive therapists, vocational counselors, and neuropsychologists that can help. If you plan to seek treatment or see someone for your lupus fog, it is important that the medical professional you choose has experience helping those with concentration and memory problems. So ask questions and be your own best advocate. It is also important to note that medical coverage may be more limited for these specialists. Living with a cognitive dysfunction like brain fog can make you lose self-confidence and lower your self-esteem. The most taxing part of having these fogs can be the stress and depression that may follow along with them that affect your daily life. If you have the right tools, it is much easier to learn to cope and live with this condition. Research has proven the effectiveness of how practicing mind-body medicine can help reduce the stressors that can cause or worsen symptoms from autoimmune diseases such as lupus. Now, I have covered what a lupus fog is, why it is happening, and hopefully have provided some tools to improve the quality of your life while living in a lupus fog. Remember to be kind to yourself. Remember that it is not you. It should not define you. It is just another lupus symptom. Henry Long, the author of Positive Energy 24/7. You can purchase an autographed copy of his motivational book, and you can also purchase the ebook version at writepab247.com. That's WRITEPATH 247.com. You can also follow him on Instagram at writepab247. You know, we tend to think of ourselves as having body, soul, and spirit. Our bodies relate to other people and the world around us. Our souls relate to our personhood, and our spirits relate to God. When your body, soul, and spirit are strong and fully committed, you can take dominion over certain aspects of the physical, emotional, and spiritual realms. Good health, yes, is absolutely necessary for mental focus, enthusiasm, clear thinking, motivation, and most important, perseverance. No matter what you're going through or what you have been through, just remember that everything and all things are in divine order. Thank you so much for listening in for this episode of My Story Living with Lupus. I'm your host, Susan Hendricks. Have a blessed weekend, and I'll see you next Friday on My Story Living with Lupus. If you feel that you can't speak to anyone, remember there's help for you. Contact the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-8255. You're never alone. The views and opinions expressed on My Story Living with Lupus podcast are each individual's experience. By listening to this podcast or reading our blog, you agree not to use this podcast or blog as medical advice to treat any medical condition in either yourself or others. As always, consult your own physician for any medical issues that you may be having.